There are people who carry oceans of emotion within them, yet only release a few drops at a time. They love with a ferocity that is almost frightening in its intensity, but this love is muffled, hidden behind a veil of composure and silence. They are the silent observers in the relationship, the ones who anticipate needs before they are spoken, who fix things without asking for recognition, who hold space for others' pain while swallowing their own. Their language of love is action, presence, and loyalty. Words, however, often fail them. The grand declarations, the vulnerable confessions, these feel foreign, almost dangerous. They navigate the landscape of intimacy with extreme caution, always testing the ground before taking a step, always prepared to retreat from the outside. This carefulness, this silence, is profoundly misinterpreted. The world confuses their depth with emptiness. Others look at them and think they are cold, emotionally unavailable, indifferent, or perhaps weak, too afraid to engage in the messy reality of love. Partners feel shut out, friends feel confused, and the individual themselves feels trapped between their intense feelings and their inability to express them. But they don't know that behind that silence is an incredibly complex, vibrant, and often agonizing inner world. They don't understand that the silence is not an absence of feeling, but a container for feelings that are too large, too intense, and too risky to release. What is truly happening inside the mind of a person who loves silently? Why does the act of vulnerability, the simple expression of deep affection, feel less like connection, and more like exposure, like standing naked and unarmed in front of a potential threat? To understand this, we must look beyond the surface behaviors and examine the architecture of a heart that has learned to protect itself through silence. The first manifestation of silent love is the reliance on the invisible gesture. This is love expressed not as performance, but as service, often rendered in secret. They are the ones who notice the small details. They remember the offhand comment you made months ago about something you liked, and they procure it without fanfare. They ensure the environment is comfortable for the person they love. They smooth the path, remove obstacles, and buffer the harshness of the world, all while remaining in the background. The underlying belief here is, my love is not valuable enough to be declared, so I must prove its worth through action. They hope, often desperately, that these actions will be seen, interpreted correctly, and recognized as the love they are. But they will rarely, if ever, demand credit. The second manifestation is intense observation and internal rumination. While their outer world is quiet, their inner world is deafeningly loud. They are hyper-tuned to the person they love. They notice the slightest shift in mood, the subtle change in tone of voice, the micro-expressions that betray hidden feelings. This is not just empathy, it is vigilance. They scan the emotional landscape constantly, trying to understand and anticipate the other person's inner state. This observation leads to constant internal rumination. They replay conversations endlessly, analyzing every word for hidden meanings, potential rejections, or signs of approval. They rehearse what they want to say, crafting the perfect expression of their feelings in their mind. But when the moment comes, the fear takes over, and the words remain unspoken. The third manifestation is the profound fear of being a burden. They equate expressing their love and needs with imposing on the other person. They prioritize the comfort of their loved one above their own emotional truth. They will swallow their pain, hide their struggles, and present a facade of competence and self-sufficiency. The internal narrative is, if I ask for too much, if I am too needy, if my love is too intense, I will push them away. They operate under the assumption that they must be easy to love. They must be lamentants, requiring nothing but giving everything. The fourth manifestation is the paralysis of vulnerability. This is the core wound. The act of verbalizing their feelings feels physically unsafe. When they attempt to be vulnerable, the physiological stress response kicks in, the racing heart, the shallow breathing, the tightening in the chest. It is the body reacting to a perceived threat. They often deflect compliments or expressions of affection directed towards them. They struggle to receive love, even when it is freely given, because receiving requires openness and trust. If you recognize yourself in these behaviors, you must understand that this silence is not a choice made in the present. It is a conditioning rooted deeply in the past. To understand the person who loves silently, we must return to their childhood. We must examine the environment where they first learned what love means and what it costs. It is highly likely they experienced an early environment characterized by emotional neglect or conditional love. In a household where emotions were ignored, minimized, or even punished, the child learns a crucial lesson: my feelings do not matter, and expressing them is unsafe. They learned to suppress their emotional needs to maintain the attachment bond with their caregivers. If the caregiver was overwhelmed, depressed, or emotionally unavailable, the child adapted by becoming self-sufficient. They became the good child, the easy child, the one who never caused trouble. This adaptation ensured their survival, but it required the amputation of their emotional voice. Another origin is the experience of conditional love. This is where affection and approval were given only when the child met certain standards, be it academic achievement, behavior, or emotional convenience. In this environment, the child learns that love is not inherent. It must be earned. They learn that their authentic self is flawed and likely to be rejected. This breeds the profound fear of being a burden. Expressing a need or a deep emotion is risky because it might disrupt the delicate balance required to receive love. Furthermore, experiences of intense rejection or betrayal either in childhood or early adult relationships can solidify this pattern. If opening up in the past led to humiliation, abandonment, or having their feelings used against them, the nervous system registers vulnerability as a life-threatening danger. From a psychological perspective, loving silently is not who they truly are. It is a defense mechanism. It is a survival strategy developed by a younger self to navigate a world where emotional expression was perilous. The primary defense mechanism is repression. They unconsciously push down their feelings and needs, hiding them even from themselves, to avoid the anxiety of exposure. Another key defense is avoidance, specifically, the avoidance of intimacy and vulnerability. By remaining silent, they maintain control over their emotional exposure. We also see internalization. They analyze love, think about love, and understand the theory of connection, but they struggle to allow themselves to feel it in an unguarded way. We can connect this to the concepts of Carl Jung, particularly the persona and the shadow. The persona is the mask they present to the world, the competent, self-sufficient, unemotional facade. It is designed to earn acceptance and avoid rejection. But what happens to the deep need for connection, the intense emotions, the desire to be seen and heard? These are relegated to the shadow. Because these needs were deemed unsafe or shameful in childhood, they are hidden. The silent lover is terrified of their own shadow, fearing that if they release it, it will overwhelm them and destroy their relationships. These defense mechanisms were brilliant adaptations. They protected the vulnerable child from a world that could not handle their emotional reality. But the strategy that once saved you is now the prison that confines you. The silence that protected you is now the barrier that isolates you. The walls we build to keep out the risk of rejection also keep out the possibility of true connection. The first and most agonizing cost of loving silently is the profound feeling of being unseen. They carry this immense love within them. They express it through countless invisible actions, yet the depth of their devotion remains unacknowledged. This leads to a unique kind of loneliness. It is not the loneliness of physical isolation, but the loneliness of emotional invisibility. They are present in the relationship, but their inner world is completely alone. They crave recognition, yet their entire defense system is designed to prevent it. This internal conflict is exhausting and deeply painful. The second cost is the constant cycle of misunderstandings and missed connections. By relying on invisible gestures and failing to communicate their feelings verbally, they leave their partners guessing. They expect others to read their minds, to intuitively understand the depth of their love. But when the partner fails to interpret the silence correctly, they often assume indifference. They assume the silent lover doesn't care as deeply as they do. This often leads to the breakdown of the relationship. The silent lover, feeling unseen and unappreciated, retreats further into their shell, confirming the partner's belief that they are emotionally unavailable. The third cost is internalized resentment and burnout. When you constantly give, serve, and prioritize others without expressing your own needs or asking for reciprocation, exhaustion is inevitable. The invisible gestures, initially acts of love, begin to feel like obligations. A sense of martyrdom can develop. I do everything for them, and they don't even notice. But this resentment is often misdirected. They are angry at their partner for not seeing them, but they are also angry at themselves for being unable to ask to be seen. Ultimately, the greatest cost is the disconnection from the authentic self. By living behind a mask of self-sufficiency and silence, they lose touch with their own desires, their own voice, their own vitality. They become defined by their defense mechanisms, forgetting the vibrant, feeling person underneath the armor. Healing is not about fundamentally changing who you are. It is not about forcing yourself to become an extroverted, emotionally demonstrative person if that is not your nature. Healing is about creating a sense of safety within your own heart, allowing you to express your truth without the overwhelming fear of rejection or abandonment. It is about moving from silent expectation to conscious communication. The first step on this path is awareness, the radical acknowledgement of the pattern. You must recognize that your silence is not a character flaw or a sign of emotional weakness. It is a sophisticated survival strategy rooted in your history. Start observing your reactions when faced with opportunities for vulnerability. Notice the physical sensations of fear, the tightening in your throat, the urge to retreat. Understand the internal narrative that drives the silence. If I speak up, I will be rejected. If I express my needs, I am a burden. Recognizing these beliefs is the first step to challenging them. The second step is self-compassion, validating the fear. You have spent a lifetime judging yourself for your inability to open up. This shame keeps you stuck. Self-compassion is the antidote. Acknowledge the reality of your fear. It is real, and it is rooted in painful experiences. Speak to yourself with the same kindness you would offer a friend who is struggling. Connect with your inner child, the part of you that learned to be silent to survive. Offer them the understanding and validation they never received. Thank your defense mechanisms for protecting you. They served a vital purpose. But now, you can begin to explore new ways of being that are rooted in safety and authenticity. The third step is reconnection through small acts of vulnerability. This is where we begin to gently expand your window of tolerance for emotional exposure. This is not about making grand declarations of love overnight. It is about taking small, manageable risks to express your truth. Start small. Express a preference. State a need. I would like this. I am feeling overwhelmed and need a moment. Practice receiving love. When someone offers a compliment or an act of kindness, pause, breathe, and allow it to land instead of deflecting it. The goal is to teach your nervous system that vulnerability in the present is not the same as the danger of the past. You are creating new neural pathways that associate expression with safety. The fourth step is redefining love, moving from love as self-sacrifice to love as mutual recognition. Challenge the belief that you must earn love through invisible service. Understand that you are inherently worthy of love simply because you exist. Recognize that true intimacy requires reciprocity. It requires both giving and receiving, speaking and listening. By hiding your truth, you are denying your partner the opportunity to truly know you and love you. Practice conscious communication. Use I statements to express your feelings and needs without blame or expectation. I feel loved when you do this. I am feeling vulnerable right now. Healing is a continuous journey. There will be moments when the old fears resurface, when the silence feels safer than the exposure. This is normal. The goal is not perfection, but progress. The ability to live a life where your inner world and your outer expression are aligned, where you can love fully and allow yourself to be loved in return. If you are someone who loves silently, who carries the weight of unspoken emotions, please hear this. You are not broken. You are not flawed. You are not too much. Your capacity for deep feeling is a gift. Your loyalty and your dedication are precious. But you deserve to have these gifts recognized and reciprocated. You are just someone who had to fight too hard to protect your heart in an environment where emotional expression was unsafe. Your silence is the armor you built to survive, but you are safe now, and you can begin the gentle process of taking off the armor, piece by piece, and allowing the world to see the beauty of your authentic self. Your voice matters. Your needs matter. Your love deserves to be heard. Do not let the fear of rejection silence the truth of your heart. Do not let the wounds of the past dictate the possibilities of the present. Remember, you deserve peace. You deserve to be seen, heard, and cherished, not for your service, but for who you are. And you are most certainly not alone on this journey.